Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. We'll have our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center. And first thing I want to say now, it's going to be cold tonight. The low tonight is going to be 47. That's the first time we hit 40 this year. And I know a lot of folks are looking forward to it. Also going to be windy. So high today is only going to be 77, and water temperature remains around 82 degrees, been that way the whole month. Take a look at our river readings. River readings in good shape. Just like I said yesterday, right at 3.5 for the Apalachicola. And in Choctawhatchee, it's level off, and it's great for squirrel season. 4.9 right at 5 foot on the Choctawhatchee. I may drop on down by Saturday. Friday and Saturday probably get on down closer to 4, but a very slow drop, okay? Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery, and their motto is when caring counts, okay? Our total weather package brought to us by Haney Technical Center at corner of Baldwin Road and Highway 77. Looking at today's tide on October 23rd, good strong tide. We're looking at low tide this morning at 9:26. And it's coming in all day at 11:07, but we may have trouble with that north wind blowing it out a little bit. So the weekend looks good. The rain forecast will be north-northwest at 10 to 15. So it may retard some of that flow coming in up in the marsh areas and all. So it'll still be cool tonight at 47. All right, that takes care of our weather. We'll be right back with our special guest. Welcome back, and welcome Captain Ken Paramore.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. Always great to have Ken on. And we have, we were talking about before we came on the air, you're sort of you're changing gears now.
We're shifting gears.
Your guys are coming off the water, headed to the woods, more or less, like most of the outdoorsmen.
I guess with this cold front that is just coming through here, a lot of our people that fish and hunt will be changing gears as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the ones who've just been doing a little squirrel and dove hunting, we're fixing to change gears big time and get into our bow season, which starts Saturday, which we'll talk in a few minutes about.
Okay.
But first off, let's talk about saltwater and get it out of the way. We got a couple closures now that are in effect. As everybody knows, or hopefully knows, our red snapper season for 2013 is over. It closed day before yesterday. Mm-hmm. So Monday was the last day of the state season. The federal season closed a week prior on the 14th. So no more red snapper till June.
Okay, and I saw, we talked about it too, the weather, some days were good, some days were bad, about pretty typical fall weather. And I saw some good reports, and we caught a few fish too. So it was in my opinion, and looking at all the feedback I got, we had a pretty good fall.
There was some good fish caught. Saw a lot of pictures. Talked to a lot of people that were able to get out, and the good thing about it too, grouper, it was open. Triggerfish were open. Amberjack was open.
Yeah.
So you could go during that 2 to 3 week period and be able to catch about everything that has a season that was open then.
That's right.
But I do want to remind everybody, snapper is closed again. Triggerfish closed in federal water. So there's those who go fishing now for either catch or release or for vermilions or grouper. Triggerfish in federal waters is closed, and it won't open until January. Triggerfish is still open in state waters, and with a 2-fish bag limit.
Yeah.
So that pretty much takes care of our saltwater. Grouper is still open, amberjack is open, vermilion's open. But the fall fishing is obviously going to start. There'll probably be redfish in the pass, and flounder are still, I hear, in the pass and in the bay. I do want to mention one thing. A good report I got Friday. My son went offshore and got into a bunch of dolphin, or mahi, if you will, and he brought home 8, and they weren't those peanuts or schoolies. He got one about 15 pounds, and he caught 8 of them. And so, for those who do venture off, it was about 11 to 12 off, and they were around weed patches, and he was trolling some ballyhoo. So Obviously, those are pretty good eating and relatively easy to catch if you can find them.
So you're just trolling the ballyhoo around the weed patches.
Those weed patches. Matter of fact, I'll send you a picture, and you can show it in a day or two.
Cool.
But they were good fish, so there are still some dolphin out there.
That's good eating too.
Yeah, they're really good blackened, they're good fried, and good grilled.
Yep.
So anyway, normally during the summer those small ones are out there, and people do catch those, but these are running a little bigger. So that's just that's about the freshest news that I had as far as saltwater fishing.
That's good news, though.
Yeah. Hunting. Archery season is going to open Saturday, the 26th. Dove season is going to close on the 28th, I believe it is. First phase of dove will be closing. Archery is going to open. Remind everybody you can hunt during archery season on private land with a crossbow permit. So you can use either or, for our archery season. It's pretty much, for our archery season with bow hunting, you can take doe deer on private land. That'll be it probably for the month. We'll have about a month of archery, and then we'll get into our muzzle loading, and then general gun will be in December.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to take a break. We'll come right back and talk about a lot more of this. Hi, welcome back. Sitting here with Captain Ken Paramore, getting all these seasons straightened out, make sure everybody knows when to go and when not to go. It's just as important. Ken brought me this poster here. Check this out. This is really good right here. I'm gonna keep this here. Got all the season, all the different areas in Florida, got all the dates and all. I'm gonna keep this poster here with me, so when you have a question, like I have an email here, someone asked me, but I do want to show something real quick, Ken. Where this section right here is carved out. Isn't that fascinating how that season right there, that section is carved out? Now all this is in your wildlife handbook also. Yeah. But give the reason for that little section being carved out.
I believe it was several years ago the commission did a deer study, and we wanted to try to base our seasons on, particularly for deer, that was close to, during the rut. And as everybody knows, every part of the state has different rut periods, and with normally South Florida being first, and actually, South Florida, they started hunting in late August because in their rut is probably during their muzzleloader, which is late September to early October. But anyway, after the study was done, as shown on your screen there's a section of Florida in the middle part of the state that been determined that, believe it or not, that's when their rut normally is, give or take, a week or two either way.
Section B right there. That's carved out. Polk County, Pasco, and those counties have a lot of woods in that area.
They have some good deer too.
They do, and I have friends that live in that area. I've gone there for most of my life, and it's really good hunting. But it just fascinates me how it's set up like that. That's
the way our zones are set up, and it was determined based on science that's when their rut is. So hence we have their season is in that zone there, as opposed to the other part of the state. It's normally starts from the south and goes to the Panhandle late, January, early February. So that was pretty interesting, but that's the way our deer seasons are set up.
Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to say about the deer hunting, but we'll get back to squirrel. Somebody asked.
Well, right here. Hey, Coach, can you please tell me when the squirrel season opens on the Choctaw River? Freddie Baker want to know that.
October 12th, squirrel opened.
So it's open now.
So it's been open a couple weeks almost.
Freddie running late now. You better get on out there and make up for it.
Yeah, he should have either called our office or got on our webpage and found it, because he's a little behind. But I'm sure there's plenty of squirrels, so he's not too late anyhow.
Yeah, it's cold weather this weekend. It'll be a great time to go if it won't be too windy.
But squirrel has been opened, and we have archery, like I say, and then the dove is about to wind up for the first phase. Second phase of dove, when it opens, it'll be, they can hunt, from sunrise.
Yeah.
So the first phase is the only one that begins at noon. What else can we do?
Most of the dove reports, I've got some pictures I'm going to show you tomorrow of a nice dove shoot, but most of the reports I've gotten, have been a little on the slim side. I don't know if, like you said, the weather might have affected them, all the rain and all, but right now we're not getting a lot of really outstanding dove shoots.
If I had to say, the rains we had over the summer, which is when people plant their plots for dove, it's probably a little difficult, and the fields were probably not, either too soggy or then they got too soggy and not grow. So the only good dove shoot that I heard about up in Jackson County, our officers made a baiting case there. So,
oh no! So they had a good shoot, but they were baiting them, huh?
They had it planted, but they sweetened it with some cracked corn, and the officers went in there. They heard them shooting, went in there, and they were hunting over bait. And the guy who was in charge of the lease said that he intended to turn it under before the season started, and he didn't get to it. So there was cracked corn all over the ground, and I think 4 or 5 of them left there with some tickets.
Oh man!
So
can't do that. You can't throw it out. Now, how long is the period of time before you got to turn it under? How long before?
It's 10 days.
10 days.
If
okay.
you have baited a field, it's 10 days. The kicker there is 10 days may have passed, but you still shouldn't have bait there. So, in other words, you can't have a field full of bait even though 10 days may have passed, because there's still bait there. The bait, has to be gone.
Okay. So turning it under doesn't necessarily hide it then.
It normally takes care of it, but it needs to be at least 10 days since it's been done. Yeah. And you can't have exposed, it can't be exposed where, unless the officer can tell that it's, old corn and moldy corn, you just don't want to go there. So, got to be careful of the baiting, and it's even worse if the U.S. Fish and Wildlife officers show up, because they put you in federal court, and it's actually even more expensive.
They're not as nice, are they?
No, they don't.
Not across the board.
They have never had very high tolerance for baiting, whether it be ducks or doves.
Yeah.
It's their bread and butter, and a lot of parts of the country is even worse than what we have here in Florida as far as baiting ducks and doves.
Okay. What about we're talking about squirrel season, how about deer and all? The biggest thing I think, people are talking about turkeys and all, but turkey's going to be mainly in the springtime. So
there are people, who
will
it's a
hunt.
big tradition to get and hunt turkey right at or around Thanksgiving.
They always want to hunt around Thanksgiving.
They want a turkey for Thanksgiving,
and
that can be
it's still legal to do that.
Sure. It's we do have a fall turkey season. It's on your poster there.
Yeah.
It coincides with our opening of General Gun.
Mm-hmm.
It's gobblers only. Can't take them over bait, obviously, and it's not the same type of hunting as they do in the spring. They hunt flocks, and they will respond to calls and come, but it's more of a gathering, and it's not a mating type thing that we have in the spring. But a lot of people do, hunt turkeys in the fall, and they like to have one for Thanksgiving. So it is open. It will be open. It'll run into January, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And
we've got the books and all. We pick up these books.
Yeah, you can get there's our hunting regulations.
Regulations on this book right here, and
it's got the same seasons and the same information. It also has, the bag limits and the methods of take and what you can and can't use. A lot of people say the saltwater regs are hard to keep up with, and the dates in and out, and I have to agree with them to a degree. But even the hunting is convoluted in a way.
I'm looking on here, it's amazing. I'm looking at for a doe season. That's going to be the day after Christmas, December 26th through January the 1st.
Right.
Which is Christmas holidays, and a lot of times you take a kid out and they can get their first deer at that time. That's an excellent time to plan that.
And you just have to, in today's age, you just have to know where you're going to be hunting or fishing, and what you're going to be hunting or fishing for, and then look it up and see what the legal aspects of it are. You know, it's just the way it is, and the dates fluctuate on the game and the fish anymore. And our state's broken up into 4 zones for hunting, so you gotta, okay, where am I going to be, and then figure out what you're hunting, and then see what the dates are.
But this weekend, October 26th, got archery, crossbow, and deer dog training.
Right.
We're gonna do that.
Outside
So this
of
this
management
weekend,
areas.
right? Outside management areas.
Private lands.
But a general gun, and it's all on here, muzzle loading, and also quail, November 9th and all. Well, quail season.
That's staggered, I believe. Used to squirrel and quail, I believe, kind of opened at the same time, but now squirrel opens earlier, and now quail is a little bit later, which quail hunting is not in good shape in Florida, and because of habitat loss, a lot of it. But
well, and FWC is trying to restore some in different areas, right? I know there's some plans, and they've been working on it a while.
It's tough, though. You know, as a kid, you used to see coveys of quail everywhere, and you don't hardly anymore unless it's a preserve.
Yeah, that's right. We'll take our final break and be right back. Welcome back. Still here with Captain Ken Paramore. Let's first look at our fishing game forecast brought to us by Mark Cowart of Edgewater Beach Realty. Got two good times today. We're looking at this morning, 3:56 to 5:56, and this evening from 4:20 to 6:20. 4:20 to 6:20, right there. It's a good time to get out in the woods or get on the water. If you don't get it, it might be blowing a little bit today.
But you know, this cold weather, too, coming up will make for a good weekend for the archery hunters.
It will be. It'll be a great weekend.
I can remember many years when it was hot still and mosquitoes were bad, so this will probably get people fired up and want to go archery hunting for sure.
It's something about that, and it gets you in your blood up here.
Yep.
Now, always on this last segment, I always like to talk about our case of the month, and I guess you have plenty to choose from, which is unfortunate, but sometimes...
Well, I had about three, and I'll briefly talk about two of them, but the biggest one I'll talk about at the end. Surprisingly, when our federal snapper season closed, which was the 14th of February, we did about 4 or 5 cases of people that were in federal waters during the closure, still catching and keeping red snapper. And some of the boats we pulled up on, they started dumping fish overboard, you know, upon our arrival. The fish were floating away. Our officers had to use dip net to, recover the, the snapper that were dumped on them. And I don't know, it just never ends. There's plenty to do. But
why when they're dumping them overboard, obviously they know they're wrong. So what do they tell the officers when the officers come up to them?
They just kind of shrug their shoulders. And the problem with some of these is they're gonna be put in file with NOAA, the federal fisheries people, and because it's federal violations, and it's going to be tough. But if the majority of the populace can behave, so be it. You get what you do what you can afford, is what I used to tell them. We did have that dove baiting case, which I talked about, which I won't get into again. But the biggest one and the most egregious to me and to our commission here occurred last month, and our officers received information over towards the Niceville and Okaloosa County area about some people that were hunting deer off of Highway 85. And as you know, Highway 85 runs from Niceville to Crestview. Well, these 4 people were going in the middle of the night up and down 85 between Niceville and Crestview, shining deer, and had killed about 7 of them. And 2 of those deer were what we consider in Florida trophy bucks, 120 to 130 class deer.
Oh, man.
And the other egregious part of it was, of the 7 that they killed, none that we could determine that they actually took and used. They dropped them. They went and cut on the bucks. They cut the heads off and they left them lay there. And our investigation revealed, and our officers worked, pretty hard and found 4 people that were involved in it, and they faced a host of charges: hunting deer at night, hunting deer from the highway, wanton waste of wildlife, which is not utilizing the deer once they shot them, and just for the thrill of shooting them at night in front of a light, I guess. And and they even heard, when they heard we were investigating them or looking at them, they went and threw the heads in supposedly the Yellow River. So we haven't even recovered the heads, but the heads were in velvet of the bucks that they shot. And we're hoping for a decent prosecution and suspension of hunting licenses. The folks on Eglin, which that the woods on either side of 85 is Eglin Air Force Base, and we're hoping that they'll be banned from anything to do with Eglin or hunting on Eglin for the next 5 years. Yeah. But which ties into this wildlife violator compact that the state of Florida has entered several years ago, which I want to talk about real briefly. There's 39 states that have gotten together and agreed upon the conditions of what we call the Wildlife Violator Compact. And essentially what it is of the 39 states that participate, if someone gets in trouble, let's say in Colorado, for hunting mule deer or whitetail or something and out of season or bag limit, whatever, and they get their license suspended, they cannot go to any of those other 38 states and hunt during that license suspension period. So in other words, if your license is suspended in one state that is a part of the compact, you're done legally as far as the other states. If you get, and Florida is one of those participating states. So let's just say if these people, for instance, get their license suspended, they're not going to be able to go to any of those other 38 states during that license suspension period. And we hope to get about 3-year suspension out of this. For the next 3 years, they're done hunting in any of those 38 states. Let's just say they want to, well, we'll just go to Georgia next year, or we'll go to, you know, Kansas next year. No, because participating states won't allow it. And so what it does, it keeps them from state hopping when they get in trouble in one and going to the next one, you know, to hunt. So it's really a good thing for particularly those of us who behave.
Yeah, well, you wonder what makes their criminal mind work like that, because even in today's world with the cell phones, the technology, I mean, they can people are going to see them, and good people are going to report them, and what makes them think they can get away with it now is amazing.
But it's a good thing that the states got together and do that, and there's a database, you know, that can be checked, and I believe they've got it set up where they can't even purchase a license in those other states, you know, and so if they go to those other states and hunt, they're going to be illegally there too.
And when you, as a citizen, you know, you see a wildlife violator, you know, give FWC a call, because we, you know, those people are stealing from you and I.
They are.
You know, some kid could have shot that trophy buck one day,
and it really helps if we get information. You know, it's never too late to try to put a case together.
All right, sounds good. Well, Ken, as always, thank you so much.
Enjoyed being here.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And folks, as always, we appreciate you watching Panhandle Outdoors. You do something good for somebody, you have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.